Hey guys, welcome back. We have all experienced what it is to be bullied and threatened. It happens in big ways, it happens in small ways, it happens to all people. Today, we will see a textbook case of bullying. How do you respond? Do you respond? Listen on in today.
Welcome to Everyday Truth with Kurt Skelly. We believe the Bible is true and relevant to everyone, everywhere, every day. If today's conversation is a help to you, take a moment to leave a review or share it with a friend. Thanks for listening. Now, let's join Kurt for today's episode.
Hey friends, I'm here still in Seattle and looking forward to finishing chapter 18 today. This is such a practical passage because we all deal with intimidation in our life in its various shapes and sizes. And the thing about being intimidated or bullied or threatened is it's that much more fearful when the person that makes the threat can back it up. And that's what's happening in 2 Kings chapter 18, because as you know, the people of God are in Jerusalem. Assyria has come and they have taken over many of the fenced cities in Judah already. In fact, they've taken over one of the most strategic cities, Lachish, and now the king of Assyria, Sennacherib, is sending in his delegation to meet with Hezekiah's delegation, basically to say, hey, just give up. Just give up and surrender. We will deport you to another nation. You'll be safe. But don't think that you are going to escape us defeating you, us dominating you. It's not going to happen. I mean, just look at this logically. Look at this reasonably. And that's the way intimidation oftentimes works. It looks like I have no options. The best thing for me to do is just to give in and to capitulate. Watch how this plays out in verse 18. Remember, we left yesterday talking about that God had essentially put Hezekiah in the same spot as his father Ahaz had been. So look at verse 18. And when they had called to the king, there came out to them, so this is the delegation from Assyria, and they call out to the king. He sends out Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna, the scribe, and Joah, the son of Asaph, the recorder. So these are three pretty important civil positions, and they come out representing not only Hezekiah, but the nation itself. And Rabshakeh, remember, he is the spokesman for Assyria. Rabshakeh said unto them, speak ye now to Hezekiah. Thus saith the great king, the king of Assyria, what confidence is this wherein thou trustest? Hey, where are you coming from? What is giving you the brazenness, the unwise confidence to stand up against Assyria? Don't you know who we are? Don't you know what we've done? Thou sayest, but they are vain words, I have counsel and strength for the war. Now, on whom dost thou trust that thou rebellest against me? So hear the message. The king of Assyria is saying, you're talking like you're going to fight against me. I'm the king of Assyria. Well, what strategy do you think you have? Well, what's your game plan? Do you really believe in your wildest imaginations that you could possibly defeat me? Now, behold, thou trustest upon the staff of this bruised reed, even upon Egypt, on which if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, unto all that trust on him. So the very first argument that Assyria makes to Hezekiah is, what are you going to do? Trust Egypt? Egypt was I would say a world power at this point, not as strong as Assyria, but often kings of Judah in their carnality would trust Egypt to help them. And that's what Assyria is assuming here. You can't be standing on your own. You must be trusting somebody. And if you're trusting Egypt, it's like you're trusting a reed. Like, can you picture like a reed that grows up in the river? And you can't lean on that like it's a staff. It's going to break. It's a bruised reed. You have no business trusting Egypt. Now, the funny thing is, that's actually true. They had no business trusting Egypt, but they weren't. See, the king of Assyria was trying to figure out, humanly speaking, why Hezekiah would have the confidence to stand against the king of the world. What he didn't realize is that Hezekiah's counselor, Isaiah, was giving him the word of God, and Hezekiah's faith was even now growing in this process. It says in verse 22, "But if you say unto me, we trust in the Lord our God, is not that he whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah has taken away, and hath said to Judah and Jerusalem, ye shall worship before this altar in Jerusalem?" It's funny, when Hezekiah took away the high places in Judah, that was actually the right thing to do. He took away the high places, and he centralized worship where it was supposed to be centralized, and that is in the temple. But Assyria didn't understand that, because in Assyria, they worshipped a multiplicity of false gods, and so they felt that worship was more about making worship spots everywhere. So they didn't understand that when Hezekiah tore down the high places, that wasn't a bad thing. That was a good thing. But they thought it was a bad thing. So even in their bullying, they're not understanding God. They're not understanding the ways of God. They're not understanding the things of God. "Now, therefore, I pray thee," Rabshakeh says, "give pledges to the Lord, the king of Assyria, and I will deliver thee 2,000 horses, if thou be able on thy part to set riders upon them." Do you hear the sarcasm? Intimidation often takes the form of sarcasm. Basically, hey, you know what? Quit playing games. Give up now. If you give up now, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll give you 2,000 horses, but you probably don't even have enough people to get on top of those horses. It's kind of a backhanded deal. Like, hey, we'll bless you. We'll give you these horses, but you're so weak. You're so pathetic. You won't even have riders to ride on those horses. I mean, they are just putting it on thick. In fact, it says in verse number 24, "How then wilt thou turn away the face of one captain of the least of my master's servants, and put thy trust on Egypt for chariots and for horsemen?" So again, the sarcasm, the bullying, the making fun of, it continues. Because what Rabshakeh says is, we could beat you with our hands tied behind our back. You couldn't defeat even part of our army led by our worst captain. I mean, that's how weak you are. Hey, we could play the second string and beat you. We could put our third stringers, we could put our water boy in the game, and you would still lose. That's the kind of ridicule that's being placed against Hezekiah here. Verse 25, "Am I now come up without the Lord against this place to destroy it? The Lord said to me, go up against this land and destroy it." Did you hear what Rabshakeh just said? Rabshakeh just said, hey, and if you think the Lord is on your side, oh, no, the Lord's on our side. I'm not here without the Lord. I'm here with the Lord. Now, that doesn't make a bit of sense, does it? I mean, how would the heathen king of Assyria say that the Lord is actually on his side? Well, it might be that the king of Assyria has now been privy to some of Isaiah's judgment prophecies, because Isaiah said that God would use Assyria as a tool to teach Israel and Judah a lesson. So in that sense, God was using Assyria. But the mistake that Assyria was making was assuming wrongly that just because God uses somebody means that God is blessing somebody. Oh, nothing could be farther from the truth. Yes, we want God to use us, but just because God uses something doesn't mean he's blessing something. He often would use evil things and even people to accomplish his purposes. That's how strong and sovereign our God is. But faithfulness and blessing is a matter of obedience. So usefulness and faithfulness are two entirely different concepts, aren't they? Now, how do the representatives of Hezekiah respond to this kind of intimidation? How do they respond to this bullying? Well, look at verse 26. Then said Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, and Shebna, and Joah, unto Rabshakeh, speak, I pray thee, to thy servants in the Syrian language, for we understand it. And talk not with us in the Jews' language in the ears of the people that are on the wall. You see what's happening? What's happening is they're meeting down here below the wall, on the outside of the wall, and they're realizing that as Rabshakeh is speaking loudly, all the guards and the infantry that are on the wall, they're hearing this conversation, and Eliakim and these other representatives realize they are going to lose heart because they're hearing these strong, intimidating words by the Assyrians. So he said, hey, would you please just speak in Syrian? Because we know Syrian, and that way the people on the wall can't understand it. Well, don't try to make a deal with the devil, because he's not going to play for keeps and play for fair. And what happens here is Rabshakeh realizes, oh, so you don't like this? You don't like the fact that the people on the wall are hearing this? So he actually gets louder and speaks more in the Jewish language, because it says in verse 27, and Rabshakeh said unto them, hath my master sent me to thy master and to thee to speak these words? Hath he not sent me to the men which sit on the wall, that they may eat their own dung, this is strong language, and drink their own piss with you? So it's a really, really crude way of saying, hey, I came here to intimidate everybody. And I came here to tell these people on the wall that they are stupid if they resist Assyria. And they'll end up starving to death and eating of their own excrement and drinking their own urine if they continue to be as dumb and as unwise as they are now in rebelling against Assyria. So instead of making a deal with Eliakim and speaking in the Syrian language, no, Rabshakeh just gets louder. That's what bullies do. And it says in verse 28 that Rabshakeh stood and cried with a loud voice in the Jews' language. Where are we? And spake, saying, hear the word of the great king, the king of Assyria. Thus saith the king, let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you out of his hand. Now, he's skipping the delegation. He's speaking right to the people on the wall. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in the Lord. Hey, don't let him talk you into trusting God. Hezekiah is weak. Your God is weak. The Lord will surely deliver us, and this city shall be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria. That's garbage. Don't listen to Hezekiah. He's not telling you the truth. Verse 31, hearken not to Hezekiah. For thus saith the king of Assyria, make an agreement with me. Buy a present. Come out to me. Eat ye every man of his own vine, every one of his own fig tree. Drink ye every one the waters of his cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your land. A land of corn and wine, a land of bread and vineyards, a land of olive oil and of honey, that ye may live and not die. And hearken not unto Hezekiah, which persuadeth you, saying, the Lord will deliver us. So here Rabshakeh is giving the whole kit and caboodle. He's saying, don't listen to Hezekiah. If you'll surrender now, if you'll pay exorbitant taxation now, then we will deport you from your homes. We'll move you to another city in a far-off land, but you'll have food, you'll have water, you'll have all the amenities of life, and you won't die. So that's our deal. Our deal is you're not staying here. You're going to surrender. You're going to do the smart thing. I mean, you talk about bully, bully, bully. And then to add an exclamation point on the threat, in verse 33, he says, hath any of the gods of the nations delivered at all his land out of the land of the king of Assyria? Where are the gods of? And he lists all those other nations. Who are they among the gods of the countries? that they have delivered their country out of mine hand, that the Lord should deliver Jerusalem out of mine hand. Hey, your God is right in the line of all the other gods, of all the other nations whom we've destroyed. There's nothing special about your God. Don't trust him. But watch the answer of the people. We're almost done. But the people held their peace. Sometimes the best thing to do with a bully is just don't respond. The people held their peace. They answered him not a word, but the king's commandment was saying, answer him not. So Hezekiah had a measure of wisdom here. Hey, they're going to yell at you. They're going to scream at you. They're going to try to talk you out of it. Don't answer. We're going to trust God. We're not going to get into a mudslinging verbal contest with these unsaved people that are just trying to manipulate us. Just shut up. Trust God. Don't answer. Then Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joah, the son of Asaph the recorder, they came to Hezekiah with their clothes rent and told him the words of Rabshakeh. I know we're a little bit over today, but wow, what a scene. It doesn't get any worse than this. There's no help. There's no hope. We're surrounded. They're yelling. They're screaming. They're intimidating. They're threatening. What in the world is God going to do to save these people? I'm glad you asked, because we're going to get into that next episode. Until then, have a great day in the Lord. God bless you, my friends.